Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so you know more than your average Joe or Jane about Canadian law. What do you make of this verdict?
Well, first of all, there's no death penalty for alleged crimes. So even if he was trying to steal something from a vehicle or trying to steal the vehicle, the punishment is not the death penalty, and it's certainly not vigilante justice. And on the other hand, you have someone who is allegedly trying to protect their property. You don't get to shoot and kill people to protect property.
But you do. I mean, I guess you do.
Yes.
He was found not guilty of committing any crime. It wasn't just second-degree murder or manslaughter. He was found not guilty of committing any sort of a crime.
It certainly doesn't comply with the law in any way, stretch, or imagination, especially considering the fact that he's an ex-Army reservist. He's well-trained in the use of weapons and when to use them and when not to use them. He wasn't in any danger. He was in the safety of his own place. He was the one who went looking for trouble. He grabs his weapon, goes outside, and shoots someone that's unarmed. There's no way that's anywhere in accordance with the law. And the thing is I guarantee you, if that jury was made up of 12 Indigenous people, it would have been completely different. So when people say race has nothing to do with it, it has everything to do with it. The guy could have called the cops. He could have stayed in his house. He could have yelled from a window and said, "Hey dude, get out of there," and it probably would have scared him away. None of his arguments made sense. Because his main defense was, first of all, it was self-defense. Well, that guy wasn't attacking him.
Right.
It was the other way around. And second of all, he was in fear of his life. Why would you run towards something that was scary? I certainly wouldn't go swim in an ocean if I saw a great white shark there. I would be scared of that. He went well beyond the norm of what he should have done. And it shows his own racist assumptions. One, you have to assume that Native people are inherently dangerous.
Well, he did say he didn't know the race of the person who was in his truck.
That's what he was claiming. He said it was too dark. How many people who are trained in weapons do you know that shoot blindly into the dark? And in fact, he actually shot the guy at point blank range. So at point blank range, I'm sure by then he knew exactly who the person was. And second of all, he made the assumption that he was carrying a gun. Why would you assume that? Why does everyone assume that Native people are carrying guns?
Well, or you could make that assumption, I suppose, but if you act on that assumption, this person isn't carrying a gun, didn't point it at you or anything, and you kill that person, there should be presumably a guilty verdict, and there's not. So my next question, I guess, would be: is the problem with the juries? Is it with the law itself? I thought the law seemed clear on this. Is the law the problem? Is it the juries? Is it the judge's orders to the jury when they're deliberating? Where's the problem? Because this isn't the first time. We've seen this with Quilton Boushie too. Where do we have the problem, and what do we do to fix it, I guess?
So most of the time people focus on the law. Oh, we have to fix the law, we have to fix the law. Well, it's already against the law to shoot and kill somebody. It's against the law. Unless they're trying to shoot you and kill you. So it's already against the law, so we know it's not the law. Let's put that aside. But then you look at the judge's instructions to the jury. Well, he didn't just say you can only look at first-degree murder or second-degree murder. He also provided the option of manslaughter. If you don't think that he intended to do it, but by his actions should have known better, and I think most human beings would have known better, you could have found him guilty of manslaughter. But no, they're just like, he's not guilty of anything. So that's a problem of race. It's a problem of who deserves to live and who deserves to die. Because I guarantee you, if that was the son or daughter of anyone on that jury, there would have been, well, you should have called the cops like any normal person would have done, or you should have, talked to the person or yelled from the safety of your window or called a neighbor or done one of 1,000 other things that normal people do. You don't go and race and get your weapon and shoot someone point blank range. It's like an assassination.
So what do we do? I mean, if the problem isn't the court system, it's not the law, it's society looks and devalues these people to the point where it's okay to have open season on them. How do we fix that?
Well, and so we're in a crisis, essentially. So if you've got a scenario, twofold. One, they can't put Indigenous peoples in jail fast enough. Yeah. You know, we're over-incarcerated, so we're not getting any justice there because of racism. And then when people do harm to us, murdered and missing Indigenous women, the rapes of our children and human trafficking, or the murders of our men, and we can't get any justice there, then what? They're creating this like public safety crisis. And so it's going to require a lot of advocacy and a lot of pressure on politicians by Indigenous peoples. Again, the burden is seems to always be on us to say we're not going to accept this. And you'll see that I believe it's the Grandmothers in Six Nations, they're organizing a protest. But if you look at the teepees that are at the Wascana property out in Saskatchewan, the reason why those First Nations are erecting teepees on that territory against the direction of the province is because they're trying to bring attention to all of the children that they have that are killed or murdered by police officers, by people in society, in child and family services, and they get no justice. All they want is justice.
We're going to have to leave it there. I mean, we could probably sit all day and bang our heads on this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.